Welcome to the iconic Sydney Opera House, and I'm here today because for the past 8-9 months now I've had this crazy idea that I haven't been able to quite let go of. I guess you could say travel has always been my passion. One day I was looking at the map of the world, and I saw that between Southeast Asia and Europe it's pretty much joined completely by land, not separated by any water. So in about 1 month from now, I'm going to try and travel across that whole landmass without flying. I'm going to be traveling from Singapore overland to London, taking all forms of transport possible, except a plane. I don't know how long it's going to take me, possibly 4 or 5 months, but I'm going to be documenting that whole journey here on this YouTube channel. This is my first time making a vlog, so I'm probably going to be rubbish at it for now, but I expect I'll get better over time. So yeah, I want to practice using this now so I'm at least somewhat better when I leave. Now I do kind of have a rough idea of what sort of route I'm going to take, at least for part of the way. So I'm probably going to... Southeast Asia is obviously first up, so like Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and into China, spending about 3 or 4 weeks in China. Crossing the whole country and going into Central Asia, so Kazakhstan, down into Uzbekistan. But from there on it becomes a bit more complicated because of, well, let's just say a couple of conflicts going on right now that do not need to be named. I'm sure you're fully aware of what they are. So pretty much the real challenge is going to be getting from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan to Europe without taking a flight. So yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy, and I'm going to have to sort of work out things as I go along, I'd imagine. So what have I done to plan for this trip? Well, I want to try and learn a bit of the local languages of where I'm going, which again has proven really hard. Central Asia, I've been trying to do a bit of Russian for Kazakhstan, which is bloody difficult. I might try and learn a bit of Chinese for China because I've been before, and yeah, English is not widely spoken there at all. So yeah, it's going to be a challenging trip. I've also got the issue of what to bring with me on this trip, because obviously 4 months of travel, I'm going to be going through all sorts of different climates. Starting in Southeast Asia, which will be hot of course, but then as I go further north into Central Asia, Europe, it's going to get really cold. And when I say cold, I mean really cold. Like -20, potentially -30 in Kazakhstan. And of course I want to travel as light as possible, so I'm going to have to work out that, like, how to pack for all sorts of conditions, traveling as lightly as possible. And of course I'm traveling with camera equipment for the vlogs, computers. So yeah, the whole thing's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, also, believe it or not, visas haven't been too much of an issue for me. Originally I was going to have to get a Chinese tourist visa. I was going to have to sort that out here in Sydney. But actually, about a week ago, funnily enough, they changed it to visa-free for 30 days for people on an Australian passport and a bunch of other ones. So that's actually really good news for me now. So I'm not actually going to need to apply for any visas before I leave, which makes things a hell of a lot easier. Now, of course, being a 21-year-old bloke, I'm not at all made of money. So another challenge is going to be doing this trip on as much of a budget as possible. Because, yeah, 4 months traveling without making any money can get, or will get, quite expensive. So for a lot of this trip, I'm going to be really kind of roughing it, like staying in cheap hostels, getting cheap trains, buses. I'm not going to be living in luxury at all for the majority of this trip. But I think that's going to add to the experience. It will make the trip as a whole more interesting. So yeah, that's about all I can say pretty much for today. I just thought I wanted to make like a short introduction video just to talk about what I'm going to do and kind of test out my camera and just, you know, get used to the whole vlogging thing. So yeah, for those interested, I'll be documenting the trip as much as possible on this YouTube channel. So yeah, and probably on my Instagram as well. I'll be posting stuff quite regularly. So I thought, if I'm going to do a trip like this, I want to have a record and document it, like mainly for myself, and also I know my family and friends are quite interested in seeing what I'm up to. So yeah, I might leave it here for today, but I will be back pretty soon with more because it's getting quite close now, only about a month till I leave.